Welcome to the 24th session of Hybris tutorial. In this session, we are going to learn about the dynamic attribute handlers in Hybris. Guys, I have already explained this topic in brief in chapter number 7 for the items.xml, but I was getting continuous requests for the detailed end-to-end implementation of dynamic attribute handlers. That is why I am creating this video for you. In this video, we are going to discuss what are dynamic attribute handlers, how we can create a handler from the very beginning. So we are going to discuss all these topics in this video. Guys, before starting this video, you can see we do have multiple handlers already in out of box code. So in the similar way, we are going to create our new handler. So guys, if I can show you core items.xml, you can see whenever we declare any item type, we declare attributes as well. These attributes are corresponding to the columns for that particular item type or the corresponding table into the DB. For example, there will be a table with name product in the database, and there will be the columns with name, for example, code, name, unit, description. These all are the columns which are present into the database. Guys, in these attribute section, we do have a one important property which is basically persistence type. So guys, if this persistence type is equal to property, it means this persistence type has a value property. It means the corresponding column will get created into the database. But if we have this value as dynamic, like if value has a dynamic, then this attribute will not get created into the table. Instead of this, we will be picking this value or picking this column value on the runtime. Don't worry about this. If still the concept is not clear to you, I will be creating a new handler from the very scratch, and there I will be showing you if I declare this persistence type is equal to dynamic, how it behaves. Right? Whenever we declare persistence type is equal to dynamic, we declare a corresponding handler as well. So in that handler, basically I will be writing a logic that it will return this value whenever I will be calling. For example, if I declare this attribute as persistence type is equal to dynamic, and over here if I declare my handler, for example, I write like this attribute handler, right? And then I give a name of handler like my handler. And this is nothing but this is a bean, special type of bean, right? In that handler, I will be writing a logic, and that logic will be written like this, that it will return some value whenever I will call product dot get name. So when you will call product dot get name, automatically our code will come into this handler, and whatever the logic you will write into this handler, that will get implemented and we will return the corresponding value. So I hope now you understand, or you should have a blur idea about the dynamic handlers, how this behaves. So if I can write in very brief about the dynamic handlers, basically when you declare the persistence type is equal to dynamic, right? Then the corresponding column doesn't get created, right? Doesn't get created into DB. Instead, we pick the value of attribute. Instead, we pick the value of attribute dynamically at runtime, right? So how it picks the value of that attribute dynamically? Whenever in the code flow you will write product dot, for example, if I'm declaring this attribute name attribute as a dynamic like this, and I declare a handler, my handler, right? Then if I call product dot get name, because the attribute value is name. So product dot get name, automatically my flow will come into this handler. My handler, don't worry, I will be showing you one sample handler as well, and then I will be telling you like, okay, this is how my code flow comes into that handler. But basically, whenever you call this attribute, automatically my flow comes into this handler, and whatever the logic you write into this handler, that gets implemented, and we return the corresponding value, right? So I hope now it is clear for to you. I will just revert its value because this should be property only. This is the out of box file. I should not change into this file. If I will be creating a new, new attribute, that I will be writing into my customized item.xml, which is training core item.xml. In that, I will be creating a new attribute into the product item type only, right? And then I will be showing you the end-to-end implementation. Now I am going to show you end-to-end implementation of dynamic attribute handler. I will be creating a new dynamic handler, dynamic attribute handler from the very scratch. So what is my requirement? So requirement is in the PDP page, product description page. Currently we are rendering the data from product table, right? So in this PDP page, what is my requirement? I need to add three more attributes. I need to add three more attribute. One attribute is available quantity. Okay, so this is my first attribute, available quantity. Second attribute is reserved quantity. And third attribute is net available quantity. Right, so it means whenever you render any product on the PDP page, right, we are going to show you what is the available quantity, what is the stock present into the DB for that product into our system, right? So that is basically representing available quantity. Reserve quantity is, for example, I have stock of 100 and then we sell two items. It means those two items have been reserved, right? So net available quantity is now 98, right? So these are the three attributes I am going to add into the PDP page, right? And out of these three attributes, first two should be the persistence attribute. So first two types should be for the first two attribute. I will be declaring persistence type is equal to property, right? And but the last attribute, that is basically a dynamic attribute that I am going to create, and corresponding to this dynamic attribute I am going to write a handler, right? So this attribute is a dynamic attribute, and in that handler what logic I am going to write, I am basically firstly fetching the available quantity, and then I will be subtracting the available quantity with the reserved quantity, and this is the way I can fetch the value of net available quantity. So this is the logic I am going to write into this handler, right? So I hope now the requirement is clear to you. So before starting this, I just want to show you how the PDP page is basically looking like, and when I fetch the or render the PDP page, what are the backend API which gets called, then I will be going to show you that how I will be adding those three attributes into the already product model. As I already told you, whenever we render the PDP page, we are basically fetching the data from the product table only. So we are going to basically create two new columns, available quantity and reserved quantity, into the product table or product model, but this third attribute will be present into the product model, but it will be a dynamic attribute. So this third column will not be present into the database. So I hope now you understand what is dynamic attribute handler. These handlers are basically for fetching the value at runtime, and these attribute doesn't get created into the database columns. But when you declare persistence type is equal to property, those attributes get created into the database, and the corresponding columns you can fetch from the database. Right now, I am going to show you the PDP page and how it behaves in the, I mean, which all functionalities or which all APIs get called into the backend when we render the PDP page. So guys, for example, this is the PDP page as you can see, and what is our requirement over here? We need to create three attributes, and in those attributes, like in the first attribute, the available quantity attribute, over here I am going to show how much is the stock left for this product, right? Then second is the reserved quantity attribute. In that attribute, I am going to show you that how many items have been sold or how many pieces of this articles have been sold, right? So that is basically a reserved quantity. It means these items have been sold. And third one is the net available quantity, which will be basically a dynamic attribute, right? And which will be basically implemented with the logic available quantity minus reserved quantity. That will be done inside a handler, right? So before doing that, I just want to show you, like when I render the PDP page, which all backend APIs get called. And guys, I have already done the B2C accelerator setup. If you have not done this B2C accelerator setup, you can watch my video. Link of video is given in the description box as well as on the top right corner in the card section. And also my server is up in the debug mode. I'm just enabling the debug, and you can see now my server is already started in the debug mode, and my debug points have also been enabled. If you don't know how to start your server in the debug mode, you can watch the video. Link of the video is given in the description box as well as in the top right corner in card section. So you can watch that video and can start your server into the debug mode. But for now, my server is already started into the debug mode. I am just going to refresh this URL, and then I'm going to show you which controller it gets called. So you can see when I refresh this URL, and you can see in the backend product page controller gets called, and this is the API product detail, right? So it is over here, and at this point we are going to call the facade layer. I'm just giving the product code. You can see this is the product code. Right, so you can see over here we are making a call to the facade layer, and this is the product code we are passing, and these are the extra options object which we have created over here. Right, so I'm just going to the next point, and you can see it is now going into the facade layer. So you can see now why we are in the default product facade.java, and over here guys, what we are doing, we are making a call to the service layer get product for code. And guys, why I'm showing you this flow, because what I will be doing, that I will be telling you in between. For example, over here we will be adding three attributes: available quantity, reserve quantity, and net available quantity, right? So that change we will be basically doing in some tag page, which is product detail dot tag file, right? And these are the backend APIs which will be getting called, and this is the service layer. So once we call the service layer in our flow as well, we will be calling this flow only, but in the product model we will be adding two more attribute: available quantity and reserved quantity, and net available quantity will be a dynamic attribute, right? So you can see, once I fetch the data from the database, I'm just going to the service layer, and the service layer we are basically calling a call to database, and then we get the data. You can see over here we have got the data from the Hybris database, and the same data we are going to return to the backend API, and we get the data in the form of product model. As you can see, now we have got the data into the product model, and as you are already aware, we always return the data to the front end in the form of product data, right? We never send the data to the front end in the form of model class, right? That is why over here we have written a converter, right? So guys, till now what we have done, this mapping is done into the commerce facade, right? So you can see this is the get product converter. If I can just show you, this is the product converter we are calling, and this product converter definition is written over here. You can see this is the definition written over here, right? And over here what we are calling, we are basically calling a product populator, right? In the product populator, what we are going to do, we are basically filling these all we are basically calling these all populators inside this populator only, right? But we are going to add three more attributes, right? So we are going to add three more attributes. For that we will be basically writing our custom populator. And what we will be doing, we will be basically overriding the definition of this converter into our custom spring.xml. It means we will be basically writing that or overriding the definition of this converter into our training facade spring.xml. And what we will be doing in that definition, in new definition, we will be saying whenever this converter will be called, we will be basically calling our new custom populator instead of this populator. So how we will be doing that, I will be going to show you, but I just wanted to tell, like, currently we are basically calling this converter, and in this converter we are basically calling this populator, but we are going to override this definition in our training facade spring.xml, which I am going to show you in some time. And in that I will be basically referring the my custom populator instead of this populator. But for now, this is the product populator definition written over here. That is why we will be basically now going to product populator, and you can see we are going into the product populator currently, and you can see this is the product populator. But once I override the definition of converter into my training facade spring.xml, my flow will not come into this product populator. Instead of that, I will be creating my new custom populator. In that, I will be basically doing the conversion of my three new custom attributes which I am going to add, and that populator will be basically extending this product populator only, right? So I hope now you understand this. And guys, after calling this populator, we get the data in the form of data, and you can see we have got the data in the form of product data object, and this is the same data we are going to return to the front end, and you can see now the flow has come into controller back, right? So I'm going to skip now, and I'm just clicking over here, and you can see after that PDP page gets rendered, and you can see now the PDP page has been rendered. So I hope now you understand what all backend APIs get called, right, when we basically hit a PDP page. And I hope now you have a blur idea what we are going to do, what basically we are going to touch the code files when I will be adding three more attributes: available quantity, reserved quantity, and net available quantity. Out of these, available quantity and reserved quantity are basically of type persistence of type property, whereas the net available quantity will be of type basically of dynamic, right? So now I'm going to show you how we will implement that, right? So for that, firstly, I will be roughly showing you what I am going to do in the training core item.xml. I am basically overriding, or I will be extending the definition of product item type only. And in that item type, I am going to create three attributes, right? Out of that, two will be of type persistence is equal to property, and one will be of type dynamic. And the two of type persistence type property will be, those attribute will be available quantity and reserved quantity, and one of type dynamic will be basically of net available quantity. So after adding those three attributes into item.xml, I will be doing and all, so that the corresponding product model changes also get updated, right? So after doing and all, don't worry, I will be going to show you this as well practically, but for now I'm just telling you a rough overview what I am going to do. So guys, after doing the entry of my three attributes into item.xml, what I am going to do, I will be basically creating a new handler, right? Because this third attribute, net available quantity, right? Net available quantity will be a dynamic attribute, and we need to write a corresponding handler for the same. So I will be basically creating a new handler, right? And after that, once I create a new handler, right, then I will be basically what doing? I will be basically giving the handler definition into my spring.xml, right? Handler definition into my spring.xml file, so that I can declare that handler as a bean, right? So once I declare my handler as a bean, what after I will be going to do, I will be basically creating my custom populator, right? Why I'm going to do custom populator? Because now I have created the three attributes, so I have to basically do the conversion of those three attributes as well from model to data object. That is why I'm going to create a custom populator, which will be basically extending the product populator only, right? So after I do, then what I will be doing, I will be basically giving the mapping of this custom populator into again my spring.xml file, right? And what after that, what I will be doing, I will be adding these three attributes into product data as well, right? Because in the product data as well, those three attributes needs to be created. For that, I have to do my entry into beans.xml file. I have already shown you this type of things where we need to add what type of entry. I have already shown you in my video items.xml and converters and populators. But again, I will be showing you everything from very scratch. So keep watching this video. You will learn everything. So guys, after doing like creating a handler, after creating a populator, adding those attributes into product data, we are ready. Our new three attributes will reach to our controller. Then in product detail tag file, we will be basically adding those three attributes. So this is what we are going to do, right? If I can just briefly write the steps, what we are going to do, these steps can be. So guys, these are the steps which we will be going to implement. We will be declaring the attributes into our product detail panel.tag file. Then what we will be doing, we will be declaring the new attribute for product item type in my training core items.xml file. Then we will be creating a new handler. Handler name will be net available quantity handler into the training core extension in this package de hybris training core event. This package is already there, right? Then we will be basically declaring this handler as a bean into my training core spring.xml. Then I will be creating a data class in training facade beans.xml so that the corresponding attribute get added into product data as well, right? Then what I will be doing in my training facade, I will be creating a new populator, product custom attribute populator, and then I will be declaring this populator as a bean into my training facade spring.xml file, and then I will be giving the mapping of corresponding converter as well into the training facade spring.xml, right? I will be basically overriding the existing definition of this converter which I had shown you, like this converter, right? This definition I am going to override in that I will be basically calling my new custom populator, this one product custom attribute populator, right? So I am going to do all these steps, right? So before starting anything, firstly we will be implementing this first step. I will be adding new or three attributes into product detail panel dot tag file, right? So what I am going to do, I am going to open this product detail panel dot tag file. I am just pressing Control Shift R key. Then I will be opening this product detail panel or tag file. You can see this is the file name, right? Product details panel dot tag file. And over here, guys, we are going to enter our entries, right? What are those entries? We will be writing those entries as like this. So we are going to do these entries. We will be writing over here product dot, for example, we will be writing like product dot available quantity, product dot available quantity, right? Then this will be product dot reserved quantity, right? Product dot reserved quantity, and this will be basically product dot net available quantity. You must be wondering from where these three attributes will be coming, because these attributes are currently not into product data dot java file. So we will be basically creating these three new attributes into the product data.java file as well, that I am going to show you very shortly, right? So this will be the attribute. So this is my product detail panel.tag file changes. These are the only changes. Then what I will be doing, I will be basically doing the changes into my item.xml, which is training core item.xml. So I am going to open again by pressing Ctrl Shift R training core items.xml, right? And over here I am going to do my changes, right? So what I will do, I will be basically overriding the definition of product item type. So that product item type definition is already there in core item.xml. You can see this definition is already there. Already we are declaring multiple attributes, but we are going to add three new attribute. Two attribute will be of persistence type property and one attribute will be of type dynamic. So I have to add more attributes into this item type. So definitely I will not do those changes into this file, because this file is out of box file. For that I will be using this training core item.xml file. Over here I will be doing those changes. And guys, what are those changes? These changes are like this. What I am doing here, I am declaring the product item type is equal to item type code is equal to product, and auto create is equal to false. Why I am doing auto create is equal to false? Because this type or the corresponding table is already there into the database. That is why I don't need to create a new table into the database. That is why I have declared auto create is equal to false. Similarly, I don't need to generate a new jalo class. That is why I have declared generate is equal to false. And these are the three attribute. One attribute is available quantity, which is of type string, and persistence type is equal to property. Second attribute is reserved quantity, which is again of type string, and persistence type is equal to property. And third attribute is basically a net available quantity, which is of type string, but it will be your persistence type dynamic, right? So this is dynamic attribute. And guys, this is the corresponding handler that I am going to create, and then I am going to insert the entry of that handler into my spring.xml, right? So I think now this should be my third task, that I need to create this new handler, right? So where I am going to create this handler, I am going to create this handler into this training core extension only. As I already told, we need to create this new attribute into the package de hybris training core dot event. So you can see this is that package where I need to create my new handler, right? So if I go into the package explorer, right, into the src folder, right, and over here you can see we do have this package, and in that package I am going to create my new handler. And guys, this is the new handler which we have created, and you can see this handler is basically implementing the dynamic attribute handler. Always, whenever you have to create a new handler, you always have to implement that handler with the interface dynamic attribute handler. And since we are going to return the string, that is why this is of type string, and over here we are giving or inputting the April size variant product model. That is why it is declared over here. Once you implement this handler with dynamic attribute handler, automatically we have to override the get method, right? So you can see we have overridden the get method. And guys, this is the logic we have written. What we have done, we are just fetching the values product dot get available quantity, right? And you can see this is how we are basically fetching the product dot get available quantity. Don't worry if this exception or this compile error is coming, because still we have not done and all. Once I do and all, this error will go automatically, right? But I will do and all after I do the entry into items.xml, which I have already done, and into the training facade beans.xml for the product data, so that the both models can be, or both the data can be inserted into product model as well as in the product data at the same time, right? So this is how we have done. The once you override the definition of dynamic attribute handler, right, over automatically you have to override the get method, and in this get method we are writing this logic. I'm fetching available quantity and reserve quantity, and then what I am doing, I am basically then fetching the net quantity by subtracting available quantity minus reserved quantity, and the same thing I am passing by just changing this to integer, right? So I hope now this is clear to you, right? So next task will be I have to declare this handler as a bean, right? So how I will be declaring this handler as a bean? So for that I will be going back to my training code spring.xml, and in that training code spring.xml I have to do the mapping of this into as a bean, right? So I will be going back to training core spring.xml, and over that I will be doing entries. So I will be just opening training core. I think this is items.xml, and in the same path we will have training core spring.xml file, and over here I will be doing that entry of handler, right? And guys, we will be doing the entry something like this. I have just declared this handler by declaring bean ID is equal to net available quantity handler, and this is the class net available quantity handler, right? Because this is the name of the handler we have created, right? You can see we have created this net available quantity handler dot java file, right? So after declaring this handler as a bean, we have to do we have to now declare our product data. We have to add those three attributes into product data.java file as well. For that, we have to do changes into training facade beans.xml file as well. So I will just open the training facade beans.xml. It should be at this path training facade beans.xml, and you can see over here we already have extended multiple attributes for our previous sessions. Similarly, we will be giving the entry of our new three attributes. And guys, you can see this type of entry we have to do, right? So I am declaring the in the product data, we are adding these three new attribute: available quantity, reserved quantity, and net available quantity, right? So I hope now it is clear to you what we are going to do, right? After that, what we will be doing, we will be basically creating a custom populator, right? But before that, what we will do, we will be basically doing and clean all so that the corresponding new attributes get generated into product data as well as in the product model for the corresponding entry into items.xml, right? But before that, what I will do, I will be basically commenting out the handler, because handler doesn't have access of these attributes yet because these are not created, so it will throw compile time error. That is why I'm just going to comment it just for doing the end all, and after that I will be basically uncommenting this once I have these attributes created, right? So I will be basically bringing my server down by just pressing the Control C key, and then I will just write CLS to clear the screen, and then what I will do, I will be firing this command to set the aunt environment, and then I will do ant all. Once I do ant all, the corresponding attributes will get created into product model as well as in the product data. For example, in the product model you can see currently, we don't have those three attributes: get available quantity, get reserved quantity, right? You can see we don't have. But once the ent all will get finished, we will refresh the platform extension, and then those three attribute will get created into product model as well as product data, right? Why it will get created? Because we have done entry into items.xml as well as training facade beans.xml, right? So that is why these attributes will get created in both files. So let's wait for the ent all to get finished. It will take around 10 minutes to get finished. So guys, now you can see and all command has been finished successfully. Now what I will do, I will just refresh the platform extension. I am going to refresh the platform extension. I will just click over here, and then I will click on this refresh. Once I will click on the refresh, you can see over in the product model we should have a new attribute created, right? So I will just click Control O. I will just press the Control O. So you can see I have pressed the Control O, and you can see the new attribute get available quantity, get reserved quantity, and get net available quantity. All these three attributes are there in product model. Similarly, we should have all these attributes into product data dot java as well, because we did the corresponding entry into training facade beans.xml as well. So I can show you that these attributes should be present over here as well. You can see it is present. Similarly, we should have get reserved quantity attribute, right? and similarly we should have get net available. And guys, these attributes are which are basically we have mapped into the product detail panel dot tag, right? So you can see this is the net available quantity which is present into the product data dot java file, right? Net available quantity, similarly this should be the reserved quantity. If I can just copy, this is the reserved quantity attribute. Similarly, we should have a available quantity. This is the available quantity, right? So I hope now you understand from where I was fetching these files, right? So this is all about. Now what we have to do, I will be firstly uncommenting the handler which we have created, right? So this was the handler. I will just uncomment this handler because now we do have this product dot get available quantity and product dot reserved quantity. Now it will not throw a compile time error for these attributes, right? So you can see handler is ready. Now I will just add some debug points over here so that once I will debug, then I will show you that this handler is getting called automatically. Right. Now, what is our next task? We will be basically creating a new populator, which is basically a custom populator we are going to create, which will be basically extending the product populator, right? So, how we will be creating that new populator? We will be creating that new custom populator inside the package de hybris training facade populator into training facade extension, right? So firstly I will go into training facade extension. I am currently in training core, but this is the training facade, and in the training facade you can see we do have multiple packages, and I will create my populator inside this, inside this package. And guys, you can see this is my product custom attribute populator, which is basically extending the product populator, and this implements the populator interface. Whenever you have to create a new populator, you always have to implement the populator interface to declare this Java class as a populator, right? So once you implement the populator interface, you automatically have to override this populate API, and over here I am just setting these three attributes. I am filling, or I am fetching the value from the model class and filling into the data class. This is what I am doing, and the rest of operations are already done into the product populator, and you can see the product populator will be getting called automatically, and whatever the operations which it was previously doing, same operations will be done, right? I hope this simple concept is clear to you, how we can create a new populator. You can see this is the new custom populator I have created, right? So I hope it is clear to you. Now, what is our next task? Into the corresponding spring.xml file, we have to declare this populator as a bean. So how we will be doing? I will go into the resources, right? So you can see this is my resources folder. Here I do have training facade spring.xml file, and over here I will be doing the entry, right? And guys, this is the entry. This is how I will be declaring the populator as a bean. I am just declaring this product populator. Bean is the parent of this bean, product custom attribute populator. Right now, what I will do, I will be basically creating a converter, right? And in that converter, I will be calling this new populator. You can see, as I already told in the overview of PDP page functionalities, we do have in the commerce facade, we do have, you can see this is the commerce facade spring.xml. Over here we already have created this converter. I will be basically overriding the definition of this converter, and instead of this populator I will be calling my new custom populator, right? So how I will be overriding the definition of this converter? I will be doing entry something into my training facade spring.xml file only. And guys, that entry will be something like this. You can see I have just copy pasted the files from the commerce facade spring.xml. You can see I have copy pasted the same thing, but over here I have just replaced the populator with our custom populator, right? So in this way we will be calling this product custom attribute populator, and in this custom attribute populator I am basically extending this custom attribute populator with the product populator only. So all the functionalities or all the logic written in product populator will be automatically called. Plus we are setting the new three custom created attributes, right? So guys, this type of flow you have to create in your project very frequently. So this concept is very important for you to understand, right? So I hope now you know how to create a converter, right? And how to, give the reference of our custom populator inside this, right? So guys, this is the all things we have to do, right? Now what I can do, I can just go into my controller class, right? So you can see this is the controller, right? You can see this is the API we will be getting called. Over here, what I will do, I will just log the dynamic attribute which I am going to call. You can see dynamic attribute value is, and our dynamic attribute is product data, right? Dot get net available quantity. So I'm just printing this dynamic attribute. And guys, since I have done the changes into the Java file, so now I have to do ant all again, because I have done the changes in Java file. So I'm going to do ant all, and guys, this ant all will take some time, and after that what we will do, we will bring our server up and then we will perform the system update. Why we will perform the system update? Because we have added the attributes into training core item.xml. Over here we have added these three attributes. Out of these three attributes, two are of type property, and these should create a corresponding column into product table. But this is a dynamic attribute, and the corresponding logic is written into this handler, and the corresponding column should not get created into the database. So once we perform the system update, after that I will show you this, right? So let's wait for the ant all to get finished, then we will bring our server up. So guys, now you can see ant all command has been finished successfully. Now we will quickly bring our server up in the debug mode. I will fire the command hybris server dot bad debug. Right, in this way my server will get up into the debug mode. So let's wait for the server to come up. After that we will perform the system update so that the corresponding columns get created into the product data table. Right, so let's wait for the server to come up. So guys, now you can see my server is up. So I will quickly open the HSC and then I will perform the system update. So I'm logging into HSC with credentials, username as admin and password as Nimda. So once I log in, then I will go to platform and then I will go to the update section, and in the update section I will be basically performing the system update. So you can see now I am in the update section. So what I will do, I will just uncheck this, guys. I have already explained this concept in one of my videos related to update running system and create essential data. If you don't know what is update running system and create essential data, you can watch the video. Link of video is given in description box as well as on the top right corner. But for now, I'm just selecting this update running system and then I will click on the update button. And guys, this will take some time. Let's wait for the update to get finished. Then we will see that in the product table, we will have these two attributes get created, but this attribute will not get created into the product table, right? So let's wait for the system update to get finished. This will take some time to get finished. So guys, now you can see system update has been finished. As you can see, system update is finished. Now what we will do, guys, we will be basically inserting the data into some of the products into net available quantity and reserve quantity column. So for that, what we will do, firstly, I will open the training storefront. You can see I am opening the training storefront. And guys, then what we will do, we will be basically running a impacts. Impacts will be something like this: insert, update, product, net available quantity, right? I will be basically updating the net available quantity. So this type of impacts will be something like this. Here what I am doing, I am just updating the available quantity and reserve quantity for the product. Available quantity as 32 and reserve quantity as 8. And why I am taking the two entries, because one is for the stage version and second is for the online version. Similarly, I am updating this value for this product as well, right? So since the system update has been finished, now what I am going to show you, I am going to show you that these two attributes have been created into the database, right? And what I will do, I will go to console, flexible search, and then I will write select star from product, and then we will see that there should be two new columns into the product table. You can see these are the two new attributes. You can see we do have available quantity and we do have reserve quantity. But guys, you can see we don't have third column, which was basically a dynamic attribute, net available quantity. It is not present into the database because it is declared as dynamic. This column doesn't get created. You can see I'm just searching for this column and it is not present, right? So I hope now the concept is clear to you. When we declare the dynamic attribute, it doesn't get created into the database. Now what we will do, we will be basically inserting the values into these columns for some of the products. So I have already created this impact, so I will be basically running this impacts. And as I already explained, what this impacts will do, it will be basically updating the quantity into some of the products, right? Like available quantity as 32 and reserve quantity as 8. And when we will show the PDP page on the front end, what we will see the available quantity as 32, reserve as 8, and net available quantity as 32 minus 8, which is 24, and which gets calculated at our custom handler which we have created. Okay, so I will quickly run this impacts for you, and then you can see I'm going to console impacts import section, and over here I will just run this impacts. I have already covered the topic this impacts. If you don't know what is impacts and how to run an impacts, you can watch the video. Link of video is given in the description box as well as on the top right corner in the card section. So I'm just going to import this impacts and this data will get inserted into the database. And for this product, we will have a available quantity as 32 and reserved quantity as 8. I can show you after this Impex import gets finished. You can see in the backend we have got a message that import is successful, and the same message will come at the front end as well in some time. And guys, you can see now the import has been finished successfully. I will go to the product table again, and then I will show you that the value has been updated for those products. So I will just write the query as select star from product, right, where code is equal to these products, right. So you can see I will just copy this product. I will show you for one product. So if I show you, you can see for this product we do have available quantity as 32 and reserve as 8. Right now, what I will do, I will just enable the debug point. I will basically go into any Java class and I will just right click over here and then I will click debug as debug configurations. I have already shown you how to start the server in debug mode, and I will click over here. It will take some time. And then guys, what I will do, I will just enable all the breakpoints. So I have enabled all the breakpoints as you can see. Now what I will do, I will go to accessories, bags, right? And you can see over the front end in the PDP page, we should have now three attributes: available quantity, reserved quantity, and net available quantity, right? So I will just skip the debug points for now, right? So I will just skip this debug point. Okay guys, so you can see now the product have been loaded. So what I will do, I will just enable the debug points again, and this will take some time to enable the breakpoints again. And then guys, I just want to show you one more thing. Like you can see on the bottom left side, we can see the product number and it is the 11156 in the end. And similarly, this product on the bottom left, the product number is 7559, right? And if you see our impacts, you can see this is the same product. These are the same products for which we inserted the available quantity and reserved quantity. So basically, I will be opening the PDP page for this product. So what I will do, I will just click over the 7559. Right, so this one is the 7559, right? So guys, now what we will do, I will just fire this PDP page and then I will show you the end-to-end implementation, how the flow goes, like how the flow goes to our new custom handler for the dynamic attribute. You can see I am landed on the product page controller once I hit the PDP URL from the front end, right? So now I am going to facade. As you can see, this is the point at which I will be going to the facade. I am passing this product code to the facade layer, right? So you can see now I am in the facade layer, right? I am in the default product facade.java. Over here, I'm just making a call to the DB and then I will be fetching the product model. As I have already told you, in the product model or in the database, we have only two columns, which is available quantity and reserved quantity. Net available quantity attribute is not present into the database. So now you can see I have fetched the product model, right? And in the product model, I have fetched the two column values as well. Now I'm calling the populator right through this converter, and as I have already told in the training facade spring.xml, we have overridden the definition of the already created populate converter, which is created into the commerce facade spring.xml. You can see over here we have overridden the definition. I have given the reference of my custom populator, and you can see this was the out of box definition of the converter, which is written in commerce facade springs.xml file, right? And because of this overridden definition of this converter, my flow will go into this custom populator, right? You can see now I'm going into the custom populator, right? Product custom attributes populator, which is basically extending this product populator only, right? So it means automatically if you have written this line super dot populate, automatically firstly it will be setting these attributes, then this will be automatically calling the product populator as well and fill the values present in product populator as well, right? So So you can see this behavior is like this, right? Now you can see automatically it is coming into net available quantity handler, right? Over here it is fetching the values like available quantity and reserve quantity, which is coming from the DB. You can see it is fetching those values and then it is subtracting the values and giving me the net quantity. For example, we have fetched the available quantity as 32, right? Reserve quantity as 8. So net quantity is 32 minus 8, 24, and we are returning the same value to the front end. In the product data, you can see we have written the same value. Right now, we are in the product populator as well. You can see we are in the product, and whatever the values present in product populator, those are also get set. Right now I am in the product data and you can see all the values have been filled, right? You, if I can show you for the net available quantity, which was basically a dynamic attribute, you can see this value has been set. Why it has been set? Because now my flow went into the custom handler which we have written, right? So we will be basically passing this value to the front end. I will just skip this portion and will show you how my front end looks like. So I am just going to skip this. You can see now I'm in the controller section and I'm just printing this dynamic attribute into my server logs. You can see this is the value we are going to print or we have printed. Right now I will just skip this and then I will just show you how my front end looks like, how I have rendered the dynamic attribute value as well. You can see these two values are coming from the DB, but this is a dynamic attribute and this value is getting calculated at runtime in this custom handler which we have created and I have shown you as well, right? Over here we just at the runtime we generated the this value net available quantity value at the runtime through this logic, right? Guys, there is one important concept regarding this dynamic attribute net available quantity. Whenever you create a dynamic attribute, this attribute gets saved into the database into the attribute descriptor table. If I can just show you the attribute descriptor table, right? Like I'm firing this query, select star from attribute description descriptors where qualifier internal is this, right? This was the attribute we had created. Right, so you can see I am firing the SQL query. You can create the flexible query as well, but I'm writing SQL query. And when I click on the execute, you will see that this data is present into this attribute descriptor table, right? So you can see this data is present. Over here, we do have all type of columns present, right? So qualifier internal is basically describing our attribute, right? So I hope now you understand this. And guys, if you need to remove uh, this dynamic attribute from your items.xml. If you need to remove this attribute, right, and for example, if you just remove this and if you just do end all and then you bring your server up, and because this entry is present into the database inside this attribute descriptors table, so when you load the pdp, it will throw error. Why it will throw error? Because over here we have given the mapping that corresponding to this attribute corresponding to this net available quantity attribute, we do have handler this, right? So it will try to fetch the handler because you must have removed the handler as well. So it will try to fetch the handler and system will not get the handler, right? So this is why the error will come. So if you have to remove the dynamic attribute as well as this handler, then what you have to do, you just have to remove the entry into this table as well. For example, we added this net available quantity attribute, right? So if you have to remove this net available quantity attribute, then what you have to do, you just have to run an impacts on this table, attribute descriptor table, and that impacts will look like this. You can see this is the impacts remove attribute descriptor, then I'm just giving the pk. For example, you can see these all are the pks, so I have to just remove take these pks. For I will be just taking these pks like this. Select pk from attribute descriptors where qualifier internal is equal to net available quantity. I have received all these pks. I will put these pks over here like this in this format only, and I will just run this impacts. So once I run this impacts, then this data will get removed from the database, and then you will not get the error if you have to remove the dynamic attributes and corresponding handlers from your code. So I hope this concept is clear to you. You should be clear where we save this attribute, dynamic attribute into our database, right? So I hope now you understand, or you should have a clear understanding of the dynamic attribute handlers. What are dynamic attributes? How we write the corresponding handlers for those dynamic attributes. Guys, in case you have any queries, please free to ask your queries in the comment section, or you can write to me on my email ID amandeepinjavahybris@gmail.com. I hope you like this video. In case you like this video, do share this with your friends. Thank you for watching. Bye.